Ew! Welcome back to the Void. I am here in Borderlands 4. No, this is not a continuation of my second playthrough. As you can see, I am in the game as Amon. Um, I just have the game up as sort of a background for you guys to watch as I speak, because this video is actually going to be my review of the game, kinda. Well, not kinda, it is. That's what this is. I'm gonna be doing just gonna be working on my Ultimate Vault Hunter. I'm on UV2 right now, and I have to do the wild card mission to get to UV3. So I don't know how long my review is gonna go for. I'll try. Well, I'm not gonna try because I I'm not gonna say random stuff just to make it longer, but we'll see if my review lasts as long as this mission does. So I'm gonna be doing his Vile Sanctum for UV2. Anyway, so to get into a review of Borderlands 4, I want to go through a couple things in terms of like first the progression of the series, right? So talking about Borderlands, the first game in the series, it was a pretty big hit, right? It was, it, I mean, I'm sure you could look, and there you'll find games that are a lot like Borderlands, or almost exactly like Borderlands that were out before Borderlands. Because, you know, at this day and age, everything is a copy of something, everything is a iteration of something, it's all inspired and uh, digressing from somewhere. But Borderlands was a pretty big hit of a looter shooter, and it became a very quick cult classic, right? With your four main characters, Brick, Roland, Mordecai, Lilith, you know. And the game was a lot of fun. The game was also very, very different from what we know as Borderlands today. And if you haven't played every game in the series, you would be probably taken aback a little bit. Because, well, for one, if you've only ever played Borderlands 4, it's not open world like Borderlands 4. If you've ever played Borderlands 3, it's not at all like well, it's kind of like Borderlands 3, but it's also not, because Borderlands 3 takes you to multiple different planets via Sanctuary 2, the ship, and Borderlands 1 is strictly on Pandora. You're not going to any other planets. The world is segmented and separated by loading terrain, or by loading screens. So like you start in one region, you know, Firestone, and then when you go and do all the quests, all the main story quests, and if you're a completionist to some extent, you do all the side quests before you move on to the next region, and it's a load screen. That's how Borderlands 2 is, that's how Borderlands 3 is. Borderlands 4 is the first game, and I assume probably not the last, considering how the story of this one ended, but I'm not going to get into that just yet. We'll talk about the story and progression later. But Borderlands 4 is the first in the series to be open worlds to this extent. Like, there are still load screens in certain areas, but it's understandable. And yeah, Borderlands, there was, in my opinion at least, there was a level of like coziness in Borderlands 1 to 3. Oh, I forgot to mention the pre-sequel. It's not numbered. The pre-sequel is between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. But it's not numbered, so I forgot to mention it. Borderlands, the pre-sequel, is the same thing. Like, it's segmented between regions and load screens. But something about that felt to me at least, a bit more cozy and
Boulder, the
and
fortress is
warm.
sealed. Have you had any success
It's
with the council?
tough. It's tough to make a game like this, like fully open world
Compose
and
myself and meet you there,
immersive.
Vault Hunter.
Like, because when I pull up this map and you look at this expanse of space on this map, this is all traversable without a single load screen, except for no, that is because you launch from there, and that's traversable without load screen. But like, you go through this, and I mean, I'm sure there are some people that are like strict into the role playing of the concept of open world, and they only ever travel from place to place by foot, and they don't ever use any of the fast travel. But I think at least for like the majority of players, um you're going to use the fast travel. So this massive expanse of an open world, this seamless existence that is Kairos, it's kind of pointless to an extent. Like, I feel like it's a progression in showing off more so than it is a progression in oh, I have to go this way now. I feel like it's a progression in showing off more so than it is a progression in gameplay. Granted, obviously, open world like this works for some games, you know, like the Oblivion series or the Elder Scrolls series, you know, Oblivion, Skyrim, all the other games in the series. But I don't know if it necessarily works for Borderlands. Like I said, I kind of like the coziness of the segmented world. It feels a bit better to me. And that's one of the things that is a personal opinion. Like, it's a video game review, but of course my personal opinions are going to be mixed in here and there. I'm not going to give you some kind of perfectly unbiased opinion. I don't think that's possible, especially in a review. Reviews are always going to be slightly biased and about one's opinion. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of a review, even, is your opinion. But yeah, the progression of the series in that regard, and the gameplay and everything. The gameplay, the feel of it has progressed, and I think I like this. You know, the double jumping, the hovering, the jump dashing and stuff. Like, this feels good to me. I like the movement. I like what they've done in that regard. And I don't know if Borderlands stayed in a segmented region dissected by load screens. I don't know if this type of movement would feel as good. So it may be, to some extent, a trade-off in that regard, where you need this kind of open worldness in order for this kind of movement to see its full potential and truly feel good to the player. And if that's the case, then I can say I'm okay with it. Because realistically, like, I know a lot of people are struggling. They don't necessarily have the hardware to run the game and stuff like that. They unfortunately didn't care about their fan base. I mean, Randy Pitchford himself made some pretty controversial comments all throughout the advertising of the game. And as for me, I'm at least lucky enough. Like, I'm not some kind of rich, you know, upper class, upper crust snob or anything, but I was lucky enough in a situation where I lived with my parents for a while. I didn't have to pay bills, but I had a job. So I was able to save up enough money, and by the time I decided to move out and live on my own, I have somewhat of a cushion, and I was able to afford some good decent gaming PC equipment. I don't know if I would necessarily consider it top of the line, but it's up there. And I'm lucky to have that. So I don't necessarily mind the trade-off for the open world. I'm gonna skip the cutscenes because it's not that big of a deal. You'll see the cutscenes if you watch my second playthrough. That is, if the videos are even allowed to upload. They uploaded right now with no restrictions. It didn't say copyrighted or anything, but the video itself isn't officially live yet. It's scheduled for the 8th, I believe, so in 2 days. It is the 6th of October right now as I'm recording this. So you won't actually see this until the 8th either. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, back to the review. I don't personally care about the trade-off. Like, if I have to deal with it being this open world that feels a little... this open world feels a little cold and vacant to me. It doesn't feel alive enough, in my opinion, and that's why I prefer the segmented regions of the previous games.
Makes sense.
But if the trade-off for this kind of movement to feel good and be fun is it has to be open world, then I'm okay with that. As far as like the fighting and combat, that type of progression, like the game's obviously advanced quite a lot in terms of that gameplay, that fighting mechanics and stuff. I mean, even if you just look in the inventory, like they've done their fair share of messing around with these kind of things. Like obviously your weapon loadout has always been the same. You've always had 4 slots that you unlocked progressively through story missions, and you could equip 4 guns. And then there's always been a variation of this kind of stuff going on, right? And in the pre-sequel, you had Oz kits and stuff like that. I unfortunately don't exactly remember what was different about Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. I know Borderlands 1, you had your Iridian artifacts and stuff, and that for your skills, for your action skill, that you could equip and change the element of your action skill. I kind of liked that. I wish they expanded on that in some extent. I thought that was fun. I liked the Iridian artifacts. I mean, granted, I get why they did away with it, because it's kind of like, but I guess the way they do it now, it's a bit like I have it spec'd into a way where I can kind of do 3 elements, but my primary element with this build is essentially cryo. But I can do a little bit of a shock, I can do a little bit of fire and gain some benefits from that. But with the old Iridian artifact system, you could swap it out on the fly and change the element of your action skill. So that was a little bit more free to some extent. Like, you can use any element in this game, just use it on your gun and it works just fine. But I don't know, I get why they did away with it, but I kind of wanted to see what it would have looked like if they expanded on that and tried to progress it through the games. And of course, you also had you have your class mods and everything throughout the games. That's always been the same. The skill trees and the characters' abilities and stuff, I personally don't like how they're progressing that, because, I mean, we just looked at the skill tree earlier. You have so much, and you can only access a very small portion of it. Like, you get 49 skill points in this game, and you can only go into one tree pretty much. Like, there's all these other abilities I can't use unless I respec, and then I completely lose everything from this tree. And I feel like it's too much. I feel like they're trying to play into a type of replayability or something and trying to like farm play hours, or they're trying to farm playtime on Steam or whatever. I don't know, it just doesn't feel good to me. I liked the skill trees of Borderlands 1 to the pre-sequel. Hold on. Let me freaking just whip out my Whistler here. I liked the skill trees of Borderlands 1 to the pre-sequel. I don't 100% remember what it was like in the pre-sequel, because I didn't play that game nearly as much as Borderlands 1 or 2, and it's not as fresh in terms of when I played it in my mind as Borderlands 3 and obviously 4 right now. The pre-sequel is kind of a weird middle ground for me, but I think I liked the skill tree in that. I know I definitely 100% liked the skill trees in Borderlands 1 and 2. I think Borderlands 2 was a pretty good sweet spot. Like, I don't like how they have all these different action skills that you can use. I liked when it was just one set action skill, and then you had kind of your 3 trees that you can spec into, and you had a decent amount of skill points to kind of cherry pick a few little sweet spots depending on how you wanted to build. But I have these 2 other abilities that are just kind of useless unless I decide I want to go and respec. And then they charge you for the respec. They make you pay money for it. I don't know. I think that's so stupid. Like, if you're gonna build characters this way and give them 3 different abilities for the players to play with, don't make you pay in-game money to respec. I feel like that's so stupid. Like I literally said, that just feels like farming for that just straight up feels like farming for playtime on Steam. There's nothing about that that feels good in a gameplay aspect to me. And I don't know, I'm a little disappointed in that. Especially because it's like it eventually gets to a point where if you're giving characters so many different abilities, you're taking away from the potential of future characters, and they're all gonna eventually start to feel relatively samey. Like, you already see it. You already see it to some extent, because in Borderlands 3, you had Zane, and if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Zane's whole shtick, like his whole getup was like clones of himself, right? If I'm not mistaken. And I know it's different enough, I guess, but Vex has the specters, and she essentially has clones of herself. And Vex's companion build, Trouble, like, that's essentially just reworking Lax companion builds. You know, it's like, it's not, you can change the numbers and change the variables, but it's the same formula. You know what I mean? Like, you still have, you can change the X and Y, but it's all being inputted in the exact same way. It's a companion build, just with different numbers. And it just feels a little disappointing, because part of what makes Borderlands so special and so fun is the uniqueness and diversity of the characters. When you start to give them all so many different abilities, and you're essentially just copy and pasting things and changing values and changing minor things to make it different enough, you're gonna start to lose some of that uniqueness and feeling. Like the sirens, you know, that they're getting up there with the number of sirens in the game, with Lilith, Maya, Amara, now Vex. Tannis at the end of Borderlands 3 had been revealed to become a siren. Ava has become a siren, but unfortunately Ava wasn't in this game. I'll get into that later when I talk about the story, because I was very annoyed about the story, and I won't get into it now. But that progression I am not particularly excited about or fond of. If they do continue to make games, like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Borderlands 5. I don't know if they're going to call it Borderlands 5 or what they're going to do, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be another game at some point. And I just really hope the characters feel special. Like, in terms of the character's personality, I like what they're doing with Borderlands 4 and 3. I feel like they've really stepped out into good territory. Because in Borderlands 1 and 2 and the pre-sequel a little bit, I feel like they weren't... Like, they still considered them playable characters in the moment. And it didn't feel like they were giving them as much personality as they are giving the characters in Borderlands 3 and 4. Like, the voice lines felt kind of dry. They didn't feel like they were just playable characters. And they only really became true characters through their echo logs. And obviously, when the next game in the series came out and they were no longer playable characters and they were free of their chains of being a playable character. But in Borderlands 3 and 4, I feel like they gave them a lot more voice lines and a lot more personality, which I very much like. So they did good in that regards. And I think that kind of wraps up the terms of, like, character progression and stuff. And I want to move on now to the next part of gameplay, because I had just gotten knocked down, right? I just got put into Fight for Life, and I got a second win. I hate the Fight for Your Life mechanic.
Not what I expected.
Oh, you're Bruce, okay. I thought he was an enemy. I hate the Fight for Your Life mechanic. I like the concept, but I'm so tired of it. They did good. They did good when they added in the ability to crawl. But aside from that, the Fight for Your Life mechanic hasn't been changed at all. And I think it desperately needs to be changed. Like, desperately needs to be changed. Especially for people playing single player without co-op. The Fight for Your Life mechanic feels so heavily geared towards co-op gameplay. And it's like, you gotta remember, there's more than just co-op. People do play single player and they play by themselves. Like, there are times... So, I hate the fact that you do damage to yourself. I think, like, it's a video game. You don't need to be so realistic to the extent that if I throw a grenade, it's still a grenade, I'm gonna kill myself with it, I'm gonna do damage to myself. No. You don't need to be that realistic. I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten killed at the very end of a fight just due to splash damage from my own stuff. Like, I killed the final enemy, I won the gunfight, everybody's dead, and I get knocked down into Fight for My Life, and I have nobody to get a second wind off of because I just killed myself with splash damage. Like, that pisses me off. It really does. And I really think the Fight for Your Life mechanic needs a drastic change, at least for single player. Like, they could code it differently for single player versus multiplayer. I'm pretty sure they can do that. Like, I don't think that's that hard to do. And, I mean, that's kind of that on Fight for Your Life. There's not really much to say. I really want them to freaking change it. I think it doesn't feel good. And that's what you want from your video games. You want all of your mechanics to feel good for the player, and it just doesn't feel good. Like, when you get knocked down, there's, even when there are enemies around, it's so hard to, like, it's so hard to find them and get to them. Like, yeah, they added in the crawl mechanic, but you don't move very fast. You know? You don't move very fast. The enemies move fast, and oftentimes, once you're knocked down, at least in my experiences, enemies kind of run away from you. There are some times when, like, there are certain enemies that actually end up just standing still in front of you and, like, celebrating, like, woo, we got him, we killed him. And they'll just kind of stand there and let you kill him. But more often than not, I feel like the enemies actually run away from you. Like, they intentionally run away from you and hide behind cover. And it's like, that just doesn't feel good to me. That doesn't feel right. Like, I get it. It's a video game. It needs to be hard. Like, you need to experience death in the game every now and then to make it actually feel like a video game and not just like an experience, I guess. But what's the issue with it being just an experience? It's still fun. It's still tons of fun regardless, even if I never freaking die, even if it's not that difficult. Like, I'm playing in hard mode. This is Ultimate Vault Hunter 2. And, like, I think the only reason I'm getting knocked down is because I'm distracted by doing the review. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I'd be getting knocked down otherwise. And, yeah, they really desperately need to find a way to change the fight for your life mechanic and make it feel better for the players. At least for the single players. Because again, when you're playing multiplayer, it's obviously like, you just get picked up by your friend. Like, there's nothing to it. It's not a big deal, but in single player, it feels horrible. It is one of my most hated aspects of the Borderlands series. I absolutely despise it. And I think in terms of gameplay, that pretty much covers everything. Oh, I guess there's another thing that I really like is the elements and stuff. Like, they've added all these different types of mechanics with the armor and shields and flesh, and they've really made the elements sing in the series. I love what they've done with that. To some extent, there are certain times where I'm almost like, maybe not, but at the end of the day, I do love it. I just find it a little annoying sometimes when I have to keep swapping guns. Like, right now, I'm not really even using elements. I'm just using a freaking shotgun that does a crazy amount of damage. And my whistler, mostly. And my action skill. But, like, these guys have shield and armor, right? That's their health. And then some of the other guys have shield and flesh. The red bar. And so you need like a weapon with a Maliwan upgrade that has shock and corrosive, and another one that has shock and incendiary. And then you have to switch between those guns, and then you also, ooh, hold on. I'm also trying to collect my firmware. High caliber is group 3. I've got Deadeye going right now. I'm not sure what I want to do. Like, I need to get them first before I decide, but I'm thinking I might do... Oops, that's the wrong button. I'm thinking I might do Trick Shot, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I might do Trick Shot or High Caliber for the reload speed and crit damage, or the I think bullet speed might honestly be better, so I might do High Caliber. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, the elements are great. It's mildly annoying, but it's not annoying enough for me to be like, you know what, they might as well just make it easy. Because it's one of those things, again, with like the realism versus it's just a game, dude. You know? You don't need so much realism in a video game, but you also need mechanics that are video game mechanics. And I think the elemental stuff is perfect. It's a perfect type of realism and game mechanic combination that is mildly annoying in some cases, but in a good way. Especially because it, like, you don't necessarily, like, if you get a good enough build, you don't necessarily even need the elements. Like, this doesn't have any elements attached to it. This is just kinetic damage, the Whistler. And I pretty much go around destroying everything. And my build for it isn't even fully realized yet, because I still need to spec into this so I can get these two. And once I equip these two, I feel like I'm gonna be unstoppable. Now I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot saying this, I think, but now I think I'm done in terms of the gameplay. And oh no, I can talk about this in a different. I have a little list here on my phone I kind of took down so I don't forget what I want to talk about. Hold up, I'm gonna end up getting knocked here. But yeah, I think I could talk about that in a different subject, so I'll hold off on what I'm thinking of. And that kind of wraps up the gameplay. So now I'm gonna talk a little bit about the quality of life. The quality of life in these games have their ups and downs. There is something, I don't understand what it is, but there is something about companies. Oh, shoot, I might actually end up dying here. There is something about freaking companies where they love to fix what isn't broke. I don't understand why they feel the need to change something that doesn't need to be changed. Like, the inventory system, for example, in Borderlands 1, yeah, sure, you could have used a few minor tweaks. It was the first iteration of the Borderlands inventory system. You know, they could work on it and make it a little better, but I still vastly prefer the inventory system in Borderlands 1 over the absolute hot garbage of Borderlands 4. I hate the inventory system in this game. I think it's abysmal. I don't know who designed it, but they need to be sat down and whoever designed it and approved it. They both need to be sat down and a conversation needs to be had with them, in my opinion. Like, there are aspects to it that I appreciate. Like, hang on, let me reload my gun here, and then I'm gonna open up the inventory system. So, first and foremost, this pisses me off. Why do you need 2 tabs, one for equipment and one for backpack? I'm sorry, but I don't need to see my character and Echo 4 on the sides here. This doesn't freaking matter to me when I'm looking at my weapon inventory. This is freaking irrelevant. It's so stupid. And then you go into your backpack, and what is this absolute hot garb? Like, this feels anti-Borderlands to me. This is almost an insult to the game's play of what Borderlands is supposed to be, a looter shooter. This feels sacrilegious. This is so freaking disgusting and horrible to look at. Like, they decided to add these stupid exclamation points in to tell you that you have some new item in your inventory, as if you didn't just look at it and pick it up yourself. Like, you need to be reminded, hey, you just picked this up. Do you want to look at it again? Hey, this is new in your inventory. You just looked at this and decided it was junk and used the alternate interact to pick it up in your inventory as junk. But we want you to know that it's new and maybe you should look at it again and confirm that it's junk. I freaking hate it, okay? And it's so difficult. like when you're looking at it, you really need to look and see, like, you could, these are great. This is the only aspect about the inventory system that I love, is the sorting. I think it's a little, for me personally, I don't need this much. I think it's a lot, but I do like the option to do so. I think it's good for a lot of people who use it. I personally don't. I always just sort by recent, and sometimes I'll use rarity. But now I will say, now I'm using the tags because I'm farming for firmware, so I can do. I have each firmware I'm farming for set to a different group. So if I go marks and I go tag group 1, I don't have any right now. Oh, I gotta do recent. So tag group 1. Yeah, I don't have any. Okay. And tag group 2. I'm pretty sure I have some in 2. What color is 2? 2 is blue. There we go. So I have some in 3. 3 is all high caliber. So like I do appreciate this to some extent. But overall, like, let me reset the filter here. Overall, this is garbage. Because, like, this is how you tell that this is equipped to you. This little freaking check mark in the top left here. And when you have a whole bunch of stuff that you just freshly picked up and the entire inventory is freaking... It looks like hot vomit with how many exclamation points are all over the freaking guns, right? Like, it's so hard to look at. And it's just... I don't know, it just feels so anti-Borderlands. It feels so anti-Borderlands. Like, I don't even ever want to keep anything in my inventory because it's so hard to look at. Like, I'll just go run to a vending machine and sell all my crap, and I just will never look at my inventory. I loved when this and this were combined and it was one screen. You had your equipped items on the left and you had your backpack on the right. And the way that you compared stuff to each other was so much easier. You just, if you wanted to compare a gun to something you had equipped, you just clicked on the gun and hover over it on the left side in your equipped slot as if you were going to replace it, and it compared it. It was... I hope there are a lot of people who are like on board with me on this, because this, it's freaking abysmal. I hate the inventory, and I'm gonna cut myself there because I can just complain about that probably forever. Quality of life. What other kind of quality of life is there that I could talk about? That is another thing. They've added the alternate interacts to pick things up as junk, which is very nice, and you can just go up to the vending machines and hit Q to sell your junk. You don't even need to load up the vending machine and open it up. They added the sale of the day. That is extremely easy to look at. That's nice. A couple other little things that they added, like the storage bank. Oh, I have to shoot this. The storage bank, the lost loot, which I have complaints about. I think the lost loot, I love the idea and concept of the lost loot, but I think the execution, especially in this game, is freaking garbage. What's going on? Oh, I have to... Hold on. I think the execution of it in this game is garbage because of the drop rates. Every time I go to my lost loot, I hardly ever even see a blue gun, honestly. It's almost always white tier and green tier, and it's just stupid. If you could at least like filter, if you could at least like filter what kind of lost loot it saves. Like if I could specifically filter, I only wanted to save blue tier and above, or I only wanted to save guns with this firmware, or I only wanted to save legendaries, you know? If I could specifically filter what kind of stuff I want the lost loot to save, I think that would be peak. I think that would be the peak optimum version of the lost loot. But as it is right now, it's a quality of life thing that I just think is a huge miss and poorly executed. It really is. And the firmware, I don't know if that really counts as a quality of life. But the firmware is interesting. I enjoy it and I kind of don't. I think it's excessive a little bit, but it's customization, I guess. That's fun. I try to avoid spoilers before I play games and stuff. So originally I thought what we were doing with that, originally what I thought was going to be how that worked was, so like, hold on, where's a gun? So when you look at this, you see COV licensed magazine, Hyperion licensed grip, Ripper. I thought we were pulling apart that stuff. Like I thought we were pulling apart and literally like picking and choosing and making our own gun with that. That was how that station was going to be. But when I found out it was just this firmware, I was honestly a little disappointed because I feel like that took away some of the fun that I was excited for and looking forward to. Granted, I know that obviously what I was looking forward to wasn't promised or anything. That was literally just me assuming because I was trying to avoid spoilers. And that's what I thought it was going to be. But I think that would be a lot more fun, honestly. I mean, granted, yeah, sure, I'm pretty sure doing that and giving people that kind of freedom obviously is going to make some extremely overpowered guns. Like, this is the base Whistler. This isn't even a god roll Whistler, I don't think. And just based on how I built my character, I'm like, it's freaking insane. And if I were able to like pull apart firmware, like imagine if I put a Torg impact on this thing, or if I gave myself the Molly wand so I could change elements between like radiation and oh, my backpack's full. If I could change my element between like radiation or something and some other whatever random thing, because I mean, radiation is probably the universal. Radiation and cryo are the universal elements. I don't know if there's anything resistant to it in terms of like the shield armor or stuff like that. What other quality of life is there? I don't know. I can't really think of any. The main quality of life I cared about was the inventory system. That was the main thing I wanted to review and talk about. And now that I have, I don't really know what else there is in terms of quality of life. I'm sure there's stuff, but I can't think of it. So I'm just gonna move on to the red chests, okay? Extremely disappointed. I do not like what they're doing with the chests. The red chests no longer feel special. They were supposed to be like this special coveted thing that were like almost guaranteed good loot. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're just throwing red chests all over the place. They don't feel special anymore. The freaking loot you get from it 90% of the time now is absolute hot garbage. Like, it does not feel good from a player standpoint to open up a red chest and get absolutely nothing but white tier guns. I feel like there should be a guaranteed of like at least blue tier or higher. Like, I know you can't guarantee purple or legendaries. I feel like that would be a bit too much. But it's a red chest, man. They're supposed to be unique and special, and they're supposed to be higher quality, like... This is how I deal with the vile ones. Cause I hate the vile people. They're so annoying to kill. Trying to shoot those freaking crystals when they're moving around is dang near impossible unless you have some kind of splash damage. But yeah, the red chests are disappointing. I don't like at all. Ooh, airstrike. That's good. I don't like at all what they've done with them. And that's pretty much that, you know, like, there's not much else to say about it. I think the red chests are abysmal, and they need to go back to the way they used to be. And now the loot. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the red chests. In terms of the drop rates, I actually think it's pretty good. I know I made a joke on Twitter about the drop rates, because when I first started playing the game, I tried farming a boss for like an hour or so. I killed them maybe 10 times. I'd only just started playing, so I wasn't really a high level. I didn't really have any good loot. So it wasn't like very immediate killing. Like, it took me a little bit to kill him. So that's why it was only like 10 times in maybe an hour. But I farmed him for that long and I didn't get a single legendary. So I looked it up and I wanted to see other people's experiences and see how other people were faring with the legendary acquiring. And it seemed like a lot of people were also struggling to acquire legendaries. And so I made a joke about Randy Pitchford's... I made a joke about Randy Pitchford's reaction, or his comment to people's reaction about the legendary drop rates. And I was like, oh, true fans of the series would quit their job and abandon their families to farm legendaries all day. But I honestly don't think it's bad. Like, once you play the game from start to finish and you really, like, experience it, the drop rate's honestly real good. I think it's fine where it is. Like, I do understand the aspect of what people were saying about Borderlands 3 being a good drop rate, because it's like, ooh, hold on, that was airstrike. That's another good one. Airstrike was category 2, so I need... Where are you? 2... Wait, what? Where's the stuff that I picked up that was airstrike? I'll figure it out later. But, I get what people were saying about the drop rates in Borderlands 3 being good, and it's like, oh, it's not necessarily about getting the guns, but it's about farming for the god rolls. Like, people liked the drop rates in Borderlands 3 because they liked just collecting the guns and having them and trying to use them and stuff. But they didn't particularly care for farming for a perfect version of that gun, and there were still a lot of people that did do that, and it wasn't necessarily easy, as far as I know. Like, I wasn't that kind of person. I'm still not that kind of person. I don't care about farming for a god roll or whatever. I just like using guns that are fun to use and kill things fast enough. Like, I don't need to one-shot everything. But if I'm killing things at a fast enough rate, then that's good enough for me. Like, the Whistler is not that fast, but it kills. But yeah, I think that in terms of drop rate, the loot is in a good spot. I like it. Because it makes, well, it's tough because the drop rate makes the legendaries feel kind of special again, in a way. But at the same time, the legendaries, I feel like, have never felt more worse than they have in any game. because
Long live Bruce.
doink, doink. Oh, that
Is
missed.
one.
What the frick? Come on. That's the one thing about this gun. So, the drop rates make the legendaries feel kind of special again. But the legendaries themselves and the way that they've started doing the guns, I forget exactly when they added this in. I think it was Borderlands 2 even, where they started dipping their toes, the tips of their little tootsies in the water of this into the deep end. But the weapon manufacturers and the bonuses and stuff, like Jacobs, for example, where pretty much every single Jacobs gun by default has the critical hits will ricochet. Every single Maliwan by default is like a really good elemental. I don't think it has any specific like default in terms of like not every Maliwan gun has 2 elements you can swap between, that kind of thing. Some of the weapon manufacturers aren't that special. Like Daedalus, I don't think is that special. I don't even know what their specific, like, are they burst fire? Is that what they are? Is Daedalus burst fire guns? Where's Vladov? Do I have a Vladov? The Whistler's Vladov. The Order, like, it charges up. They basically, what I'm trying to get at is all of these guns are very, like, they're basic guns. You know, they're white, they're green, they're blue, they're purple. And they have all of these little bells and whistles attached to them now with the weapon manufacturers and all these different things. Like this is a Maliwan with a Jacobs license part. Like, not only is it Maliwan, but it also has the critical ricochet of the Jacobs. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a purple gun. And that's insane, in my opinion. I liked it when these special abilities were specifically tied to legendary stuff. It goes back to what I was saying. It goes back to what I was saying about the characters, where they're giving the characters too many abilities and they're going to start making things feel less unique and different and special. They've already butchered the guns. They've already butchered the loot in this game. Like, I don't feel like I need to look at anything that I pick up. Like, I know, like this, I'm looking at this and I'm already like, this is a pretty good assault rifle. It has the hand crank and it's a Jacobs. Putting a hand crank, I feel like I'm saying that weird. Putting a hand crank on a Jacobs and making it fully automatic, like that gun, this gun probably shreds to some extent. And it's not even a legendary. Like, look, I get it. I know that legendaries can't be the only viable guns that are able to kill enemies. Like, you obviously need guns that are gonna kill enemies. But you can do that with just base stats. Like, you don't need to give them all these fancy different abilities. Like, you can just make the guns have the statistics, like the damage output, to do that. You don't need to make them fancy. Being fancy is a legendary's job. And I just feel like they've butchered the legendaries and they just don't feel as good anymore. They're not like this is a legendary gun now, but this was just a gun in Borderlands 1. This is just a gun that you got as a reward from TK Baja. Like, they didn't really change much about it aside from making it a Jacobs and giving it the critical ricochet. It still shoots in a wave. They didn't really do much to make it that different. And in all honesty, like, I don't even like that it shoots in a wave. It's kind of a hindrance in some cases. Like, you watch and you just see your bullets curving right past people, and it just doesn't feel good to use. And some of the other legendaries that I have in my inventory or in my equipment that I'm using, I forget what this is called, but this is kind of unique. I think it's fun. But I feel like they could do better, you know? Like, you can switch between horizontal or vertical fire like that.
The next thing you
But
taste will
I don't know, it just
fury,
feels
Victor.
bland. Like, it's unique, but it feels bland. It doesn't feel legendary. Like, I know as well, a lot of what makes things legendary is tied into, like, other things aside from just that. Oh, I might die here. There we go. And I also have the this sniper rifle. I kind of like this, but it almost just feels like a molly. Like this could literally, like, if you handed this to me and told me it was a purple molly one, I would believe you. You know what I mean? And that's specifically because of what they've done to the base guns. That's not because this isn't special. Like, this is still special, but you see stuff like this to some extent on the base guns. So it detracts from the legendaries and makes them feel less special. It makes them feel less unique. And it's just disappointing. Like, I really wish we could go back to Borderlands 1 and 2 when the legendaries really felt legendary. I mean, granted, again, like I said, Borderlands 2 is when they started introducing the weapon manufacturers, so that was like the start of the downfall. The legendaries in Borderlands 1 actually felt like really legendary. And they had the pearlescence, which they're adding to this game. I saw that on the roadmap. So I hope at least the pearlescence. I don't know if I'm ever going to get a pearlescent. The drop rates on those things are probably going to be insane. But I hope that at least the pearlescents still feel special. They've already ruined the legendaries. What else could I say about the loot? I think that's pretty much it in terms of the loot. And I also already spoke about the characters. I had that on the list as well, but I ended up speaking about that in the gameplay category. So moving on to the story. Finally, the meat and gravy of this review, I think. I don't think this game deserves to be called Borderlands 4. I'm just gonna say it. Based off of the story they gave us for this game, this does not feel like Borderlands 4 to me. It feels like a separate story in the Borderlands universe. They could have called this game trying to go along the lines of Borderlands, like the Gearbox's video game naming scheme, you know, like they called the pre-sequel. I think that was pretty funny. Borderlands the pre-sequel. They could have called this Borderlands elsewhere in the universe or something. I don't know. Borderlands, you know, I feel like Borderlands elsewhere in the universe would have been perfect for this, honestly, as a name for this. Because it doesn't feel like Borderlands 4. The progression of the story in the Borderlands franchise so far has been perfect up until now. Because Borderlands 1 was great. I don't know if they had planned it from the start, the way they set up Borderlands 1 into Borderlands 2 with, crud, I forget. I think her name was what? Angel? I'm not perfect with my memory, okay? I love the series, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna remember every little freaking thing. You know? Like, I can be a fan of something and not have a steel cage of memory. I have to get in there. How the frick do I get in there again? There it is. But the way they set that up with Angel in Borderlands 1 and going into... Why can I not mantle this? Jeez. But the way they set that up with Angel in Borderlands 1 going into Borderlands 2, where Angel was a siren and they were leading the Vault Hunters to the Destroyer... Or no, was it the Destroyer? Can't remember. But she led the Vault Hunters to the vault. And then in Borderlands 2 it was revealed that like Handsome Jack and all that, you know, the stories tied together really nicely. Like very, very nicely. It was a very good tie-in between the stories, and it felt like a real genuine progression of the story. And then the pre-sequel was really fun because they called it the pre-sequel. They didn't call it Borderlands 3. They called it something else like they should have. Because if they called it Borderlands 3, I would have been saying the same thing about the pre-sequel as I am about Borderlands 4 right now. Borderlands the pre-sequel felt like a good sidestep outside of the story to give us a look into something that felt really good, as giving us insight into the world and how things went. And then Borderlands 3, I felt, was really good because it felt like a natural progression. I don't think there was too much of a tie-in as there was between Borderlands and Borderlands 2 in terms of like Angel being Handsome Jack's daughter and all that. But Borderlands 3 was essentially about the origins of the vaults and the discovery of them. You know, with Typhon de Leon? Typhon de Leon? I forget. I know his name is like Tyson or Typhon, and I don't remember how the second part is, like Typhon de Leon or whatever. But it felt like a natural progression because it brought him into the story, and it was telling us the story of the origin of the vaults and how they were made, why they were made, the discovery of them and everything. It gave us a good insight into the world, and it was a good progression of the story. And now we get into Borderlands 4. At the end of Borderlands 3, Lilith essentially disappears into Elpis, the moon, to save everybody, to save Pandora and all that. Ava, a lot of people did not like Ava. Hold up. Where's the things that I'm throwing at this? There's one. There's one. A lot of people did not like Ava. I liked Ava. I mean, I agree. I think she was a bit annoying with the way they wrote her. Like, she was so cliche rebellious child, and the things that resulted from her actions and stuff. You know, like, I get it. I get why a lot of people didn't like her, especially because a lot of her actions resulted in some stuff to Maya, who is a beloved character. She was a playable character in Borderlands 2, and she was a siren and whatnot. And I get that. I get why people didn't like her. But the way they set her up, like, she became a siren, she inherited Maya's abilities, and Thanos. I'm thinking of Thanos and Tannis, and I said Thanos. But Tannis being revealed as a siren at the end, and just the way that ended and the way they set the story up for Borderlands 4, this doesn't feel like a continuation. It feels like a freaking disappointing letdown. Like, genuinely, the main Borderlands story felt like it got put on the back burner and used as spice for the story that is Borderlands 4. I feel like that's a really good way to put it. Like, genuinely, the main story of Borderlands got put on the back burner and used as spice. It felt like flavor text almost. Like, it felt so just neglected. Like, in Borderlands 4, in this story, we learn about the phase dimension, and we learn about where the power of sirens come from, and it just felt like it got thrown in there. It didn't feel substantial or important at all. It just felt like some like flavor text. It just got thrown in there, and then it was like, okay, yeah, like saving Lilith didn't even feel like a big deal. It just felt like, yeah, whatever. Now let's get back to the timekeeper. There wasn't hardly any characters from the other games. Where was Mordecai? Where was Brick? Where was Ava? Where was Tannis? Tannis got replaced by freaking Zadra. And then they freaking killed Zadra. And who knows, it's Borderlands, so maybe Zadra will come back to life at some point in a DLC or in the next freaking series. Who knows? She was a scientist. For all we know, she had some kind of backup that she's not telling us. And she's gonna come back as like some kind of cyborg robot or whatever. But as far as right now, she's quote unquote dead. You know? Like, where's Tannis? Where's Ava? Where's Ellie? Where's Mordecai? Where's Brick? Where's any of the other... Like, they had Zane and they had Amara, which I was excited about. They had Moxie. They have Claptrap, obviously, because Claptrap's a freaking staple in the game. They're going to put him in literally everything, which I think is going to get old eventually. Like, they really need to... Hold on, let me see if I can hit this. They really need to do something... Excuse me? They really need to find a way to, like, more cleverly put Claptrap into the games, because right now I feel like they're just kind of throwing him in the games. Oh, come on. But yeah, I was so disappointed in the story. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a good story. I just don't think it counts as a continuation of the Borderlands story. At all. Oh gosh. Again, I really hope there are a lot of people that agree with me, because I feel like I'm going insane to some extent. I feel like I'm gonna post this alongside part 1 of my second playthrough, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna, like, not agree, and I'm gonna be like the only one. I hope I'm not. I don't think I will be, because I feel like I'm right. Oh gosh darn it. I feel like I'm 100% right in the fact that this does not deserve to be called Borderlands 4. In my opinion, I feel like Borderlands 4 should have been about finding and rescuing Lilith. And if they were gonna introduce the origin of the Siren's powers of the phase dimension, like, the way the phase dimension was described and the way that this game ended, like, this game was clearly ending to probably set up Borderlands 5. But I feel like Borderlands 4 should have been more about that. It should have been so much more about that. It just felt like it got thrown in. If you ask me, the way I would have written, like, knowing what I know about Borderlands 4 right now, and about the phase dimension and what they were planning for it, I would have wrote Borderlands 4 to be, like, not about time in the way that this was about time. Like, the Timekeeper felt like such a subpar freaking big bad evil guy. Like, he felt like such a subpar villain. Like, I feel like they hardly developed his character. But the way that they I would make it about time, but not in the way that they did, because the way that the phase dimension was described is like time folding in on itself, like things starting and beginning, or things beginning and ending at the same time. Like, Lilith was seeing the past and the present and the future and stuff. And I would have set the game up of, like, rescuing Lilith, of, like, finding Elpis, finding where she went, going on to Elpis and entering the phase dimension, and making the phase dimension more of a thing than what it was. And, like, playing with time in terms of bringing back things from the other games. Like, you have to go back in time and redo things. I don't know. I think that would have been so cool and so sick for Borderlands 4. Like, imagine going back in time and helping Lilith and Roland and Mordecai and Brick kill the Destroyer. Imagine going back in time and playing as a new character alongside Maya and Salvador and Axton and shoot, what was the other character's name? What was their freaking name? Maya, Axton, Salvador. I'm drawing such a blank right now. Who the frick was the fourth character in Borderlands 2? Zero. There you go, the freaking samurai dude. And just like imagine that. Just imagine playing alongside those characters, playing those missions again. And I think that would have been so sick. And they could have set up Borderlands 5 so much better doing that. Because it's like playing with the time aspect of like, you could have seen, they could have done, oh, this is what could have been. Like, you could have gone back and you could have saved Roland, and this is what could have been. And it could have been such a, like, powerful thing, and it's like, I don't know. The way they just threw everything in there, like, nonchalantly, it felt so bad. It just felt poorly done, dude. I feel like it's such an insult to the previous games and the characters. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Borderlands 2 is widely revered as, like, people who enjoy the Borderlands franchise and the Borderlands games. Borderlands 2, if I'm not mistaken, is widely revered as a vast majority of the player base's favorite game in the series. And I don't know if Borderlands 4 is going to change that. Like, I don't know if there's anybody that's going to come out and be like, oh yeah, Borderlands 4 for sure, 100%. Borderlands 4 was my favorite game of the series. Maybe in terms of gameplay, because like I said, the gameplay, I like the gameplay in this. I like the movement, the double jump, the hovering, the dashing. Like, it's fun to play. It feels fun to play. I enjoy playing it. But the story, nah, dude. Nah, man. Borderlands, I think one of the big, huge, main reasons why Borderlands 2 is so many people's favorite is because it's that first experience. It's that first reveal of the playable characters coming back as story characters. Do you know what I mean? Like, you see Lilith again, and Mordecai and Brick and Roland, and they're story characters now, and they come back, and that's the first experience you get of it in Borderlands 2. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, that was such a huge, impactful thing. And I am amazed that they don't play on that more. They don't play with that more. Like, in Borderlands 3, they hardly brought back the characters from Borderlands 2. Like, they brought back Maya and Zero. I think, like, that's what they're doing. For the main story of the game, I think they're intentionally only picking, like, 2 of the characters to bring back. Like, in Borderlands 3, Maya and Zero played real big roles in the game, right? And then in Borderlands 4, they brought back Zane and Amara, and they were the characters that have played a huge role in this. And Flack and Moe's, who knows where they are. But in Borderlands 3, you then got the DLC that brought back a lot more of the characters. Like you had Krieg's DLC with the psychosis. You had the Hammerlock DLC that brought back Gage. She was the wedding planner. And then you had that really shitty, really crap DLC that brought back Salvador and Axton. That was a disappointment, dude. Am I right? That was a horrible DLC. Horrible. But like, it just feels so disappointing. I feel like they really need to play with the characters more and bring them back better. And it's like, where, in Borderlands 4, it's like, where are the other characters, man? Where's Mordecai? Where's Brick? Where are all these other characters that we know and love and should have played a role in these stories? Are they even gonna be in DLC? Like, is it gonna be the same? Is it gonna feel the same seeing them in DLC? What? I don't know what they have planned, but I don't know what they have planned, but I don't think it's gonna do anything justice. I really don't. I'm gonna die here. I need my Whistler back. I feel like I've pretty much said what I've had to say about the story. Like, anything else I say, I think is just gonna be repeating what I've already said. So I just pretty much have to wrap up this video finishing this mission. But yeah, I don't think this deserves to be called Borderlands 4. I love the series. Hold up, there it is. I love the series. I love the game. But that doesn't mean I have to hop on the bandwagon and just, you know, I don't have to hop on the bandwagon and just, you know? Just because, oh, it's a Borderlands game. It's the next game in the series. It's amazing. It's great. Everything about it is wonderful and perfect, and there's nothing wrong. Like, no, I love the series, and that's exactly why I'm gonna be critical of it. That's exactly why I'm gonna say, hey, this kind of sucked. This is bad. Y'all need to redo this. Y'all need to do better. Because I don't want the series that I love to be ruined. There he goes. Like, again, like I said, I still enjoyed the game. I still think it's a beautiful, great, amazing game. I just don't think it deserves to be called Borderlands 4.
Am I trapped here? I will need that command bolt either way.
It's amazing and it's great as its own separate thing. And I think that's what it should have been. And as I was fighting Vile Lictor, that reminded me of another thing of gameplay I wanted to touch on, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit. And in terms of the bosses, there are so many bosses with invincibility phases, and like, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. I know, I get it. Again, I get it. It's a game, so it needs to have game mechanics and stuff, and it needs to be difficult in some way, but like, fighting the Timekeeper in RJ was easier than fighting Bio-Thresher Omega. I think that's an issue. Bio-Thresher Omega is so annoying to kill. I mean, again, I'm not like min-maxing. I'm sure there's a build out there that once you throw the stuff at him to get rid of the bio armor, you could literally one-shot him and just like bypass all the other phases. But the fact that, so not only does he have the bio armor phases that you have to annoyingly deal with, but him going in and out of the ground, I hate the Threshers in this game entirely as a whole. The way they designed the Threshers in this game are freaking abysmal. They're the worst and most annoying enemies to fight. They disappear underground and you have to sit there and wait, and they reappear for like 3 seconds and then they go back underground again. And it's so stupid. It is so stupid. Freaking RJ, I just obliterated with the Whistler. Timekeeper, I obliterated with the Whistler. That's not even what it's called. It's called the freaking Mad Atling gun, but the special text, or not the special text, but the whatever it's called, the ability is the Whistler. So I just call the gun the Whistler. But the bosses, it's so annoying when you have to sit there and wait for an invincibility phase to pass. Like, oh, you're just surviving. Like, they need to do it in a way that feels good. I think Inceptus was really good, the way that they do the phases for him. Because you're moving around, you're dodging stuff, you're grappling up to the height and whatnot. Like, there was a lot more to it. There was a lot more to it than just sitting and waiting. Like, okay, well, now I can't shoot him. Now I can't do damage to him. Now I just have to wait until I can shoot him again. You know what I mean? And there were so many bosses like that in this game where it's just like they have these invincibility phases that don't feel good and they just feel like, all right, now I have to sit here and wait. But yeah. At the end of this now, as I'm going back and I'm finishing up this wildcard mission to unlock UV3 or UVH3, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give my overall rating of the game. So I was unsure how I wanted to do this in terms of what scale I wanted to use, whether it's out of 10 or out of 5 or whatever. I decided to do it out of 5, and I think I'm gonna give Borderlands 4 a 3 out of 5 overall. I feel like that feels perfect for everything that I said and all of the opinions that I gave and just the culmination of my review of the game. A 3 out of 5 feels fitting. Because I definitely don't think this... like, if you take this game and you make it its own separate thing... like, if you make it its own separate thing as part of the Borderlands franchise and call it Borderlands elsewhere in the universe, and you didn't butcher the Borderlands main storyline the way that they did, because I genuinely, I think they freaking butchered Borderlands storyline. I don't understand what idea they got in their head where they're like, okay, we're going to tell the story of Kairos, and you know, the story we've been building thus far is just kind of in the back seat. Like, we'll throw in a little bits here and there, but it's not important anymore. We don't care about the story we've been building this entire time. All we care about right now is Kairos and the Timekeeper and this. You know, that's what it felt like. It felt like they butchered the freaking story they've been building. Like, again, I said it before, but saving Lilith felt so unimportant. Like, Amon didn't even know who Lilith was, which granted, I know not everybody in the universe is gonna know who the Crimson Raiders are and Lilith and Mordecai and Brick. Like, I get that. Not everybody's gonna know them. But I feel like a vault hunter in the line of hunting vaults is gonna hear rumors, you know, like when you're talking to people about vaults and trying to find information about vaults and trying to find vaults, you're gonna hear about the Crimson Raiders and their achievements. Like, that just feels like common sense to me. Like, I get it. Maybe there's a few people here and there. There's a few regions of the universe or the galaxy or whatever that the information hasn't quite gotten to yet. And maybe there's a couple people here and there that have never heard of them. But, like, I feel like any vault hunter should know who they are at this point. And the fact that just... and I don't know the voice dialogues for the other characters, but I know Amon didn't know who Lilith was. He didn't know who the Crimson Raiders were. And, like, he didn't even seem to care about Lilith. Like, you save Lilith, and then it's like, okay, yeah, let's get back to the Timekeeper now. Like, Like, he didn't even save Lilith because he cared about Lilith. He saved Lilith because Amara wanted to save Lilith, and that was kind of her condition for helping with the Timekeeper. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, they freaking butchered the story, and it's so disappointing. I really hope in the next game they really bring it back hard. I really hope they do. Because Borderlands 4... I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't deserve to be called Borderlands 4.
Bend your ear.
Let's go ahead and finish this up.
I do not. Should I?
It's singing, Wellspring. A song of joy. It's a quiet song. Sounds an awful lot like the wind, but still. With Lecter dead and the fabric of reality mostly untorn, the augurs stand ready to join your crimson resistance.
I love Calder.
The mountain thanks you.
He's like one of my favorite characters in the game, honestly. I think he's great. I think he's hilarious.
We have a special gift for her.
Alright,
And so, vile
go ahead and skip the cutscene. Go ahead and return to Moxie's bar. And now I have unlocked UVH3. Oh, that is... I actually kind of like how they did the Ultimate Vault Hunter mode in this game. I think it's a lot better from a replayability standpoint. Because if... Again, I'm gonna get hate for this in the comments. But I'm gonna be honest and just say I didn't replay every single game as every single character. I haven't. I haven't played every single character from start to finish because I played one character and then they had Ultimate Vault Hunter mode and then they had True Vault Hunter mode and like they had all these additional modes that I just kept playing as the one character and I kept playing the game and I played the game so much where like to some extent, you know, you burn yourself out. Like I'm absolutely gonna go back eventually and revisit and play as all the other characters, and I don't think when I replay all the other characters, I don't think I'm gonna go through all of the Ultimate Vault Hunter modes again. I'm just gonna play the base difficulty start to finish, and that's that. Because it just feels like a hassle. But the way that they did Ultimate Vault Hunter mode in this, I actually really appreciate. I actually really like with the challenges and stuff to unlock the next one, instead of it being like a whole other difficulty that you have to replay the whole freaking story to do. I mean, you don't have to do it, but you know what I mean. You guys, if you know the Borderlands franchise, you know how Ultimate Vault Hunter mode was. And it doesn't feel hard either. Like in Borderlands 2, I got to a point where I just couldn't even play anymore in the highest difficulty. Like I even with my main playthrough character, I didn't even reach like the highest level of overpowered. I haven't even reached overpowered 1 because I just can't freaking beat it. They made it so heavily multiplayer based and so heavily balanced towards multiplayer that you genuinely cannot have fun and play the game single player without min-maxing and building like the most strongest, most overpowered version of the character you're playing. And it's sad. I didn't like that about Borderlands 2. I really didn't. So I do appreciate Ultimate Vault Hunter mode in this game and how they're doing it. And I think that's it. I think, because I just remembered that. Now that I completed the mission and unlocked UVH3, I just remembered that I also wanted to talk about that. And I think that puts a nice bow on this review. So ultimately, to wrap it up, I don't think Borderlands 4 deserves to be called Borderlands 4. I did love the game. I did love the story. I don't appreciate how they butchered the story they built thus far. I don't like how they just threw it in like some kind of second thought. Like it felt like an afterthought. Lilith and Elpis and the story that they were building. I believe it should have been called Borderlands Elsewhere in the Universe or something. I don't know. Anything else besides Borderlands 4. Overall, the game to me personally is a 3 out of 5. And that is going to wrap up my review of Borderlands 4. I know it was a lot. This ended up being an hour and a half long. I hope you guys enjoy it, or enjoyed it, because if I said enjoy, that would have been at the start of the video, like, oh, I hope you enjoy, but it's at the end, so now I hope you enjoyed ed past tense, because it's the end of the video and you've maybe watched all of it. I don't know, but yeah, thank you to anybody who did watch it. Please comment below, give me your thoughts and opinions. I would absolutely love to hear other people's thoughts and opinions. I love that kind of stuff. I like picking people's brains and stuff. I don't like people. I don't like social interaction. It's weird. I'm weird. I like picking people's brains. I like psychology, but I don't like having to interact with people. Anyway, thank you. Check me out on Twitch when I stream. Blah blah blah. All the content creator crap. Y'all have heard it before. Thank you. Well, I guess I'm not again. Frick. I'm so bad at this. I was about to do my outro for streaming, but I'm recording a video outside of streaming, so I can't do that. I guess thank you for watching. Have a good night, good morning, whatever time of day it is where you are in the world. Peace.